When wrestlers hit the mats for a match, it's just one athlete pitted against the other. But the two Demon wrestlers who qualified for this year's state tournament say they couldn't have done it without the help of their teammates and coaches. Seniors Jake Fenberg and Samantha Velasquez qualified to compete in the state wrestling finals in Pueblo on March 13th. And while both had disappointing finishes, their wrestling careers were anything but. Velasquez was the first ever Demon to compete in the first ever Colorado High School Activities Association sanctioned girls wrestling tournament, where she finished in 5th place. But before this year, she wrestled with the boys.
I have 5 older brothers, and they wrestled the year before me, and I was just kind of like, I want to wrestle, Mom, and she was like, no, you don't need to wrestle. So then she's like, well, wait a year, and if you still want to do it, you can. I started about 2nd grade, and I just kind of like fell in love with it ever since.
With her many years of experience, Velasquez qualified 3 times for the state tournament, winning 1 first place and another 2nd place spot on the podium.
So Samantha has understood the sport and been doing it for a really long time. And so I think as a coach, what I wanted to do in coaching her was not reshape or reform anything that she does, but try and complement all of the strengths that she already had and just work on little tiny fine things that the only difference is I grew up in a different place. And so my perspective as a coach is the thing that's valuable. She's a very, very solid wrestler who understands the sport well.
There's actually quite a bit of mental to wrestling because like I've lost a match just from thinking about who I'm wrestling before, and like it can happen to anyone, I guess. Like if you think you're going to lose the match, then you are. But if you go in it with a biased action or biased mindset, then you'll be able to either win your match or learn from what that match taught you.
Both Velasquez and Fenberg have been part of a growing program that has not only expanded in numbers, but in team spirit from both players and volunteer coaches under the leadership of head coach Robert Finiseth.
Our team camaraderie is a whole different level than it was when I was a freshman. It's amazing. We have almost 40 people out on the wrestling mat. When I was a freshman, we only had 8. And also now that the season's done for everybody on the team but me and Sammy Vasquez, my 2 practice partners are still coming in, even though they're supposed to be done. And they're drilling with me every day until state, which is really awesome of them. And I'm really grateful to them.
This team has been so supported by the group of coaches that have come together. We've got 6 or 7 coaches now from various schools in their area. Many of them, all of them were wrestlers, had various experiences. Some of us are lightweights, some of us are bigger guys. And each of these coaches has come together bringing different aspects or talents to the team. None of us could have done it independently very well. That's been really cool.
Jake Fenberg's dad and coach, Moss Fenberg, introduced his son to wrestling when Jake was in the 4th grade. A wrestler himself, Dr. Fenberg says he enjoyed the physicality of the sport and spending time with his son over the years. Jake admits he didn't always appreciate the training that was required, or that wrestlers didn't always have that cool factor that other athletes enjoyed. But Jake says his perseverance and his father's support were well worth the effort, because the lessons he learned will stay with him for the rest of his life.
Well, it's a lot of training, but as I've been wrestling since I was in 4th grade, and I was always getting better, but these last 2 years I really started to understand like why these moves are working and how like all this training is coming together to build me up and make me stronger. And I mean, now it's like shaped who I am. It's a huge part of me is wrestling, and my dad's the one that got me there and kept me going.
Thanks for watching this edition of the Demon Spotlight. I'm Wendy Graham Settle.